Hello my friends and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're taking a look at a match that was recently played on Delta Siege Dry. One of those maps that the pros certainly love to play on. It's definitely an interesting one, and we'll break down a little bit of the functions of this map here in just a second after we meet our team leader. So today, spawning right up on the front lines is the Blue Cortex Commander, a commander that goes by the name of Leyline Leela. Leyline Leela, gonna be showing us what she's got here as a Cortex Commander on the fronts here, going for a solar panel and a triple mech start, going for that split build here. Wouldn't recommend it on your own, an easy way to accidentally throw a bunch of your APM out the window. Oh, accidentally paused the game there, meant to clear the board. Alright, back in action. Split building, yeah, you can accidentally end up wasting a lot of metal if you mess something up and you end up stalling on resources, and then suddenly you're trying to panic and you can't build it correctly. But Leyline Leela, clocking in at 43 open skill, gonna be more than capable of getting this early setup nice and well done. It's gonna be a vehicle lab here for our Cortex Commander right up on the front lines. Gonna be going up against the yellow commander here on the red team. Our red team leader, spawning in the back line, goes by the name of Dave TB. Dave TB also split building here. I guess that's just in the air today. Split building is the new hotness, apparently. Gonna be going for some wind turbines and an E-storage here. Oh, yep, that's exactly it. Wind turbine decayed to nothingness. Dave going for a very early energy storage. I don't mind it, especially on maps where wind speed can go quite high, although right now, wind speed is currently plummeting as we speak. But when that wind speed goes high, having a little extra energy storage to buffer for when you are producing out of your laboratory, yeah, it can definitely make all the difference here. Dave TB, gonna be playing in a backline position here. You do have access to a little bit of extra metal, but frankly not much more than you would if you were on the front line. In fact, frontliners on DSTR actually have more access to metal than anybody else. You can see Mixosis and Hexu going up against 1C, 1T0, and of course Leyline Leela. All gonna be vying for control over these metal extractors in the middle of the map, where the majority of the metal will be available here. Also metal over here on this northern section. There's a little high ground mountain right here, and then of course the little river valley over here with some metal available here, and here, and here. All good stuff here, and of course these geothermals provide a valuable resource that the commanders are going to be vying for control over as well. Well, Rover's headed in the backline, pulling the units from the Tan Commander away, means that Juan has more than enough positioning here to, or more than enough space in the middle of the map here to find a nice position on top of that very nice 2.0 metal extractor. Leela getting aggressive already. Rascals across the map and looking for whatever trade that they can find. Gonna back off for now here. Yeah, headed towards the base of the Tank Commander, it looks like. Yeah, those rovers, those rascals, they are gonna start making their way towards something? Surely. Oh no. Slowly but surely, they're looking for an opportunity right here, trying to help out their brethren, the Blitz tank, in lavender purple. I think these rascals can certainly do some damage here. Mixosis only has the commander to defend here, no LLT or anything. We do have some incisors as well, which would be nice for cleaning things up. Yeah, Leela trying to find value with these early rascals. Actually way more committed to the rascals than I would imagine. Yeah, important not to lose them either, though. Hexu is spotted. One thing the rascals provide a lot of course, is that vision. You can see well into the distance with these scout craft. Scout warfare right here. Ticks versus Rascals, who does win? In this very rare circumstance, it will be the Rascals. I don't think I've ever seen a Cortex Commander commit so heavily to the Rascal play here. But Leela definitely seeming encouraged to do so. Gonna be going into some more solar panels here. I think it's time we expand forward. Yeah, Hexu very eagerly expanding forward, of course trying to defend most of this with the units that are coming out, trying to deflect a lot of those Rascals that are going forward. Looks like a little bit of an engagement on this northern side here, but Matejko going to be more than happy with the way that that traded out, with a couple of pawns still standing and the commander already up on the front. Both of these commanders, both Rise Heaven's one fan and Matejko, both going to be pretty thrilled with the position that they can take up here. The hillside going to be contested as well, and that's always lovely. That's a little bit of extra metal, but also some wonderful positioning for some harassment tools. More specifically speaking, of course, it's the missile launcher. The Cortex missile launcher is very powerful. The tactical missile launcher, very good for engaging those well, for instance, the geothermal, but even the edge of this base over here from Nikotan. Either one of those is a valid option. Hexu pushing forward right now, trying to claim this metal extractor, offsetting the difference between Juan taking this very far forward position here, and yeah, the metal extractors that are unclaimed, evening things out right now. The Yellow Commander trying to keep it together. The Seeker right here, pushing right alongside Leela. Always good to see. Incisor tanks, gonna have to be wary of those LLTs. Couple of grunts. Pawns, pardon me. Looking for a run-by path. Hexu has units in position, though. Nicely deflected. So far, so good. An excellent back and forth between these teams. Well, that's a huge hit. Tank Commander sneaking a couple of Incisors into the enemy backline here. And Incisors prioritizing the metal extractors and the eco here, and I think that's probably the right decision in the long... Oh, that friendly fire! Oh, no! Friendly fire right there just wiped out a ton of units right there. It did also smell a commander explosion. Ooh, it was the blue commander going down right here. Yeah, the Seeker, gonna try and reclaim some of it, but most of it degunned here by Hexu. Incisors rolling in to try and take advantage of that commander that was softened up by the blast. Are we gonna get it, though? I don't think so. Hexu manages just barely to escape with the commander intact, but it is, again, just barely. Oh, now in range of the Seeker. Boom goes the yellow commander. Beautiful. What a lovely wombo combo of a play right there from the blue and purple commanders. Trading one commander to soften the other. Trading the second to kill the first. And just like that, tons of metal heading back now to the purple commander, who's going to be pumping out more and more of those units to the field to try and help the front line expand forward further. It's all just production for the time being. We have thousands of metal in the bank and all of it's going into units. But once those units get up on the field, it's going to be really difficult to keep a collected force up against them. That snowballing effect is real, and it can have a huge turn on the way that this battle plays out. Dave TB sending the commander forward, gonna degun down a constructor. How nice. Couple of incisors attempting out a little run by here. The Rocketeers firing away. And honestly, not the ideal unit to deal with those incisors. Yeah, pawn gonna be a little bit better here. It'll be close, but it's definitely enough. Mixosis now taking some harassment here as the Wolverines are jumped upon by a whole bunch of pawns that are running forward. Pawn setting up a nice little LLT forest here and maintaining it properly so that we can see constantly units running forward and then being pushed backwards. The tank commander forced offline right here. Forced into a much smaller economy. I think this metal extractor, if we had taken this metal extractor, things would have been just ever so slightly better here, but of course, dealing with those run-bys in the backline makes things a little bit more difficult. Love to see the aggression from all teams here. Sometimes we only see 4 commanders fighting in this low ground here. It really turns into a 2v2. Glad to see that we're up and running in a 4v4, essentially, with multiple commanders pumping out units all over the place. Janus is trying to deal with this pawn run-by. Janus is, in a certain manner of speaking, a very effective counter to the pawn. But in an entirely different manner of speaking, they're also massive overkill. Their friendly fire is tremendous as well. Lavender Commander went down right in front of the tank commander's base. I believe we were trying to, degun down the lab over here. I'm not sure if we degun the lab or just died in the explosion, but either way, Mixosis is now in possession of quite a lot of metal. We need to see a lab back up and coming. Surely. Janus battle out here in the middle of the map. Always a tricky one when Janus go to war. Essentially evenly traded out right there. But the red commander does maintain just a slightly better connection, and it means that their units will trade ever so slightly more efficiently. Those slight efficiencies and those slight inefficiencies do tell the entire tale. Mesa's now fighting for the high ground here. Fighting up this high ground with Mesas is really difficult. Is that another commander going down? I swear I smelled one. Well, anyways. Oh yeah, there was a commander going down. It was all the way over here. Commander was sacrificed for T2. That's a long while ago now, but there is another commander down for the blue team. Blue team now representing 5 commanders, the red team holding on to 6. Maces on the high ground here is quite lovely, actually. They can fire, because they fire a plasma shot, right, which is affected by the gravity of the game. It means that they can fire quite a bit further and quite a bit more effectively firing downhill, rather than the maces fighting up the hill. It means that this position is great for having maces on defense. Really, really tricky for having maces on offense. So I like to see the Rocketeers here. The Rocketeers mixed in kind of equalize this ever so slightly for the orange commander, but obviously it's still going to be an expensive battle to fight upwards, especially considering those red spots are back there patching things up. Lovely stuff from the lime green commander, making sure to get as much value out of these units as possible. There we go. Mace is continuing to fight. Essentially, Matejko is using the defender's advantage aggressively here. With the forward lab, it means that your reinforcements hit the battlefield a lot quicker on. But of course, the green commander is reinforcing here as well. Both of them trying to maintain control over this wreckage field, but the orange commander starts reclaiming first. With those red spots out of commission and no longer any units in position over the top of this reclaim field, Matejko's got to feel pretty comfortable about holding on to all that. Loads of ticks on the bottom of the battlefield on the southern side here. The Red Commander Dave TB still with a mighty force of Armada T1 vehicles. But I think we're about on track here to start upgrading to T2. Indeed, we have a T2 con slowly but surely making its way across the map here. Rocketeers fighting in mass over on the northern side. Mr. Elusive battling it out against, oh gosh, who is that? Rise Heaven's one fan. Rocketeers, definitely one of those units that can suffer from over-micro. Moving them around too much means they can't align their rocketry, and then suddenly it takes forever for them to actually fire a shot off. But microing them is how you keep them alive, so it is a double-edged sword, of course. Mace is eventually winning this high ground right here with the assistance of some green ticks. It's a hard-fought battle, though. The never-ending war right here. I think maybe if we had a Resbot or two resurrecting units in the backline, we might actually be able to make some progress here. Just because we could have an infinite army marching forward, the reinforcements plus the resurrection. But that reclamation is also part of what keeps this army continually producing. It's the ebb and flow of battle. As the units push forward here, the Orange Commander has more to reclaim, and so their army gets stronger. As the orange units push forward, the green army has more to reclaim, and so their units get stronger. It's a little bit of a funky situation there. Northern side looking quite good, though, for the Cyan Commander. Very nicely done. Rise Heaven's one fan on the defense right here with that forward bot lab. Feeling a little bit suspect. Trying to get these T2 mexes up and running, but they aren't up and running quite yet. Meanwhile, bases on the southern side have been obliterated. The Tan Commander making a mighty push towards the Lavender Commander's main facility here. Overrun by just a bunch of medium tanks. Meanwhile, Blitz is in the backline. Layla taking heavy casualties. Medium tanks cleaning it up, but that's metal extractors down. Middle of the map completely opened up. Commanders have fallen all over the place. It's the purple commander down right here. Res bots and construction bots, all sorts of bots. Gonna be eating up the wreckage from that explosion. LLT is trying to hold the line right now. Maces trying to ruin it. Maces technically work against LLTs, but it's not a supremely cost-efficient trade. We've set ourselves up for a nice little race here. The northern side. Crumbling for... Oh, little commander trade up on the northern side here as well. Missing all the commander explosions today. I guess I'm not quite warmed up yet. Need to go have another cup of coffee, apparently. But it's a commander trade between the orange and the lime green commanders, and that means, of course, that they're going to be eating up most of that wreckage here. They being the green, the dark green and light green commanders. Medium tank ball is looking menacing down here, though. Yeah. That's a scary amount of medium tanks here. We've got about 8,000, no, pardon me, about 3,000 metal worth of medium tanks. 8,000 would be quite a bit different. About 3,000 metal worth of medium tanks. Certainly more than enough to overwhelm the punitive forces here of the... I don't think I used that word correctly, but anyway, the puny forces is what I think I meant to say, of the yellow commander here. Just a couple of rocket bots, some ticks and pawns and that sort of thing. All T1. But you know what? After all is said and done, those medium tanks really didn't manage to hit too much of the economy. Just barely made it within range of the base before petering out. And so just like that, all that metal, all 3,000 of that metal is nicely deposited on that base front. And meanwhile, there's a whole bunch of blitzes in the base, counterattacking, ruining any odds right here of Layla recovering from that attack. Essentially an all-in right here from the blue commander. Forced into an all-in after the base is destroyed. One T2 mech's up and running and producing 10 metal, or pardon me, 8 metal per second. It's, we do have a single T1 mechs here as well. Some hounds handed over. I don't mind that at all. But maybe handing over this economy right here wouldn't be the worst thing for the blue commander, just so that we can get more reinforcements from the backline and then worry about microing 100% of the time. This Mace army that was used to crush the hot pink commanders, or pardon me, the orange commander's facility over here, going to be sent down south to try and clean up a little bit of the fortifications from the Tan Commander. Not bad. Lightning turrets up on the hillside. Doing a great job, actually. Yeah, softening up those tanks quite nicely. Maces trade fairly well against tanks. Oh, not when they're paralyzed, though. Shuriken's coming in clutch here to try and save some of those tanks. Make sure that these trades are efficient. Yeah, there we go. Mace is in a lot of trouble once they're paralyzed. Mixosa's moving in for the kill. Lovely stuff. Maroon fighters headed out on the map. Pawn run by over here. Okay. I like it. Shuriken heading to the rescue. Can we get that T2 mechs before the Shuriken paralyze everything? Looks like we will. Wind turbines falling here as well. T1 constructor even in trouble. There we go. Just like that. Counterattack and counterattack. Beautiful lockstep right here from both these teams. I hit you, you hit me. Both of them punching each other back and forth right here. Neither one relenting from the action on the front. The frontliners here, tremendous kudos, by the way, for sticking into this match. My goodness, we've seen trade and trade again. These bases blown to pieces more times than I can count. That's, that's pretty impressive. Takes a lot of mental fortitude to maintain that. Hounds continuing to attack on the midsection here. Blitzes running right past. Those Hounds would fare quite a bit better if they were in their other firing mode here. Struggling a bit to hit these blitzes. They are quite fast moving. Despite only being T1, one of their surefire strengths is, of course, their speed. The wave of blitzes marching forward. Gunslinger going to be quite good against them, though. Nice, man. Making the blitzes hop. Do a little trick. That's quite precious. Quite a lot of forces pulled to deal with all that, but in the end, it will be deflected quite nicely. All said and done, not really the end of the world. Not devastating damage. Layla rebuilding her base. We have the T1 facility up and running right here. We're banking a little bit of metal right here, just trying to expand the energy economy. Wouldn't even mind seeing some advanced solars come up at this point, just because of how desperately we need energy. Yeah, both teams vying for control over here. Rocket spiders on the map over here. Couldn't see. I saw blue on the map, and I couldn't figure out what it was. It's rocket spiders and Webbers pushing forwards right now, directly into the base of Rise Heaven's #1 fan. That is crippling right there for the Hot Pink Commander, who separated their economy from their production. You can see the production over here versus the economy now taking a hit from these spiders. Not sure why we pulled back, though. Feels like these spiders might have been able to kill the commander over here and, at the very least, secure some of that metal. The power of the Weber, of course, being that it can paralyze things, making them very easy targets for the Recluse to fire at. Weber's also extremely EMP resistant. Wow, this is really annoying. Yeah, Weber's in the backline, paralyzing whatever they can. Making this really, really difficult for the air player here. Huh. Well, you know what? I think it works out quite nicely here for the, yeah, for the Cyan Commander. There we go. Commander finally goes down on this high ground here. Recluses do push forward eventually. There's no resources in the bank to finish any of these static defenses, so we're trying desperately, but connecting with nothing. And just like that, Rise Heaven's one fan calls the resign vote after losing this high ground to a bunch of rocket spiders. Beautiful play right there from the Cyan Commander. Lovely transition into some of those wall crawlers to try and, well, break the line over here. I would love to see some Webbers sent around to try and reclaim a bunch of this. I do believe, yeah, we do have some moving in that direction. Webbers, there's a couple of things you can do to micro Webbers to make them a little bit more effective. One of which is that if you fight command them, they will automatically reclaim anything that they encounter. So one thing you can do is just take your Webbers, spread them out, and then fight command them forward, and that will usually absorb whatever's in their path, right? You kind of trace out a big path. The other thing, of course, is that you can just hit E and do a big reclaim circle, and that will only affect the Webbers. So you can send the Recluses on an attack path, and then you can do a reclaim command, and that'll only affect the the Webbers rather than the Recluse. Gunslinger's making a push forward on the southern side. My goodness. After the base is ravaged multiple times. I can't believe it. The blue team has come back into this. Massive bombing run headed on the southern side. Yellow Commander, unable to defend themselves with not enough anti-air to shut down this massive bombing run. Just a big old strafing run, connecting with whatever it can on the front lines. Hard to quantify how much of that damage was done. Oh, we're spamming self-destruct here. Not sure why. It's a little disorienting, actually, seeing all that. But anyway, bombers eager to blast down this T2 lab. Any of the build power, the constructors, all the rest of it. I think these bombers take down this T2 lab. Yeah, indeed. The red commander actually taps out of the game at this point, with no way to save themselves. We do have a vehicle lab, so an anti-air flak truck would have been massive. Didn't manage to get one out in time, though, and so these bombers are going to ravage the backline here. With the damage those Webbers and Recluses did on the northern side, and with these bombers tearing apart the front line over here, it really is only a matter of time. You can see the economic differences showing themselves here now, with the red team pulling in about 280 metal, with the blue pulling in about 350. It's not the world of a difference, but it certainly becomes one over time. Here go those bombers. Connecting with the fusion reactor, desperately trying to pop that fusion reactor. Bombers sort of spread out everywhere here. Not the end of the world, but I think targeting down critical infrastructure might be a quicker way of doing this. Pitbull coming up on the front lines here. Mr. Worldwide, trying to close out this game. As the red morale has crumbled, so too have many of their controlling forces. The hot pink commander leaving the game, the yellow commander, also a hollow husk of a commander. These units bear no shell of cognizance. They're a shell of their former selves. Passively defending their base until their very last. Kind of tragic if you really think about it. Automated soldiers fighting long beyond their creators' original intention. I think that was the lore of Total Annihilation, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can correct me on that. I know there was like one faction was like cyborgs and one faction was like robots. I never played much Total Annihilation. It might surprise you to hear. I do appreciate this game though, and it's fairly confusing lore. There we go. The outcome I don't think anybody is surprised to see here as we slowly march toward a greater and greater economic difference. The blue team manages to take the victory eventually in this hard-fought game of Beyond All Reason. Man, DSDR always produces some interesting matches. A good back and forth here on the low ground with multiple frontline base kills here, but eventually overwhelming firepower on the northern side and a beautiful bombing run on the southern side. Clean out the remaining forces of the red team. Beautifully done. GG to everybody involved. Thanks a ton for watching, and I sure hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the very next match of Beyond All Reason. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in joining the Brightworks community, and if you are, there's also the opportunity to join the Discord, which there's a link to down below. We have a fabulous community over there with tons of talent for creating a bunch of different tweak units and a whole bunch of great gamers who are excellent for, especially if you're trying to learn the game. There's definitely some helpful voices over there. I definitely recommend it. Other than that, though, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.